Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Where are we today? Come on, you guys know where we're at. We are at Gat Guns right here in East Dundee, Illinois. Hey, I've been doing some geeking out with everyone here at Gat Guns, and I'm a little worried about a class of individuals, a large segment of the population here in Illinois that went out and purchased something very lawfully, very responsibly, own it very lawfully, and yet you may actually be setting yourself up for significant problems. I'll explain it all with the help of Nicole in just a moment. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about the state poised for gun confiscation. Okay, this is a video for everyone here in Illinois, but I would encourage anybody who has pre-purchasing licensing laws either coming into effect or your legislature is talking about that idea, you might want to pay attention to what's happening out here in Illinois. I'm going to sit down in a moment with Nicole, the general manager over here at Gat Guns. We're going to talk about a segment of population that acted responsibly, acted lawfully, and now they could find themselves in major legal trouble. Hey, everyone, check out who I got. I got Nicole from Gat Guns. Say hi to Nicole.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. Hey, third time on the channel?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, we're going to go back in our time machine real quick. I want you to educate everyone so they can understand this problem that we're going to be talking about. January 10th, 2023. What's the significance of that date?
So PICA was put in place. So when PICA happened, we were no longer allowed to sell any banned firearms, semi-automatic rifles, high cap mags, all the things.
All the cool stuff.
All the cool stuff that we love.
Okay. And we know that there was an injunction in May of 2023, what we call Freedom Week around here.
Right.
And therefore, there were thousands and thousands of individuals who ran out during the enactment of PICA, but there was a court order enjoining that law, correct?
Correct.
You guys had big volume going through here. That's how you and I met?
Yes. Yeah.
But that was not unique to Gat Guns.
No.
Everybody had volume.
Everyone in the state was allowed to do the same thing.
Okay. But unbeknownst to me, apparently there was a lawyer, I think it was Tom DeVore here in the state, who'd been working his tail off, and actually between the time of the passage of the law, January 10th, and leading up to Freedom Week, had actually got temporary restraining orders that allowed many individuals in this state and then some gun stores in this state to either purchase and or sell these items.
Correct.
Okay. And so there was a longer period of time where Gat Guns, where you were on a temporary restraining order, and if a purchaser was also on the TRO, you could
Sell to them.
Okay. So
Any banned item.
Okay, so conceivably we're going from sometime in January until the middle of the year where there are large classes of individuals that can still purchase these items. Okay. Now you remember that you had to register everything? Remember that was the thing? If you had one of these items, you can keep it, you just got to register it, right? But you had to state under penalty of perjury there that ownership took place prior to January 10th of 2023.
Correct.
But for all of these people that we're talking about, whether they were on the TRO or they bought during this injunction, how can they say that legally? All right, how can they say that truthfully?
They can't.
They can't.
There was no recourse for anybody on the TRO or anybody that bought during Freedom Week.
Okay. Now you're aware that there's a case out there called Reece versus Raoul.
Correct.
And that case says that, hey, you may have come into lawful ownership of that firearm because of either a TRO or an injunction. But lawful possession in this state is legally impossible.
Correct.
Okay. Now, this is what I want everyone in Illinois to think about for a moment. Because of state licensing law, I'm assuming that all your sales records are not only obviously subject to ATF inspection, but Illinois State Police probably gets to come in and inspect them as well?
Correct.
Okay. So if they came in and they were like, we want to take a look at all your sales records from the day the TRO on this started to the end of your TRO, or we just want to take a look at all those sales records in May of 2023, you have to turn those over.
100%.
Okay. Is the data there to establish what types of firearms were sold to what people during that period of time?
Yes, because they have access to the 4473s.
Okay.
And that's make, model, and serial number.
Okay. And even if they were buying lower receivers and it was listed as an other, there probably wasn't a lot of others being sold during that time. So it's not a lot of sleuthing that needs to be done here.
Not at all.
Okay. So I'm not saying this is happening. You don't believe this is going to happen. I want to make that clear to the listener. But is it possible for Illinois State Police to, in relatively short order, accumulate data necessary to do a gun confiscation?
Yes, especially FFLs that keep electronic records.
Okay. you and I both have talked that for many, many reasons, confiscation seems a little out of the realm here.
Even here.
Yeah, even here in Illinois. But you have this thing called the FOID card.
Correct.
And they love to take FOID cards, and they love to take them for any reason. So what would stop the state of Illinois from accumulating all of this data, and then rather than starting a confiscation effort, send nasty letters to people and say, hey, you got 30 days to surrender these firearms because you can no longer lawfully possess them. Either prove that you've dispossessed or that they're possessed in another state, and if you fail to do so, we'll revoke your FOID card.
Nothing would stop them from that.
And what I want everyone to understand, especially around the country where you guys have these pre-purchasing licensing requirements going into effect, Washington, Oregon being two, what kind of judicial hearing do you get before you have your FOID card revoked?
None. You get a letter.
You get a letter saying the ticket's already been punched.
Yep.
And then there's an appellate process that isn't really even an appellate process, right?
Correct. Very expensive Second Amendment lawyer.
So at the end of the day, as you and I were geeking out over in the conference room trying to diagram this issue, we kept getting to confiscation, and you and I both kind of sat there and was like, it's just for so many different reasons, it's hard to imagine, right?
Right.
How is a mass revocation of a FOID card hard to imagine in the state of Illinois?
It's not.
Okay, and that's a real threat.
Correct.
Okay, real quick. Now that we've talked about all the bad news, let's talk about the good news. Why don't you tell everyone about Gat Guns and what you guys are doing out here in East Dundee?
Awesome. Thank you so much again for having us. We are Gat Guns. We're the largest privately owned firearm dealer in the Midwest. We have about 6,000 firearms in stock at any given time. From the very unique to the very common, we have great competitive prices and really great customer service. We also have 63 shooting lanes. So we would love to host your private event, and we would love to have you.
Third time on the channel, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Okay, so what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that the state of Illinois could go out and accumulate the data necessary to do a gun confiscation pretty easily. I think one of the realistic parts of that story is the likelihood that they could get enough cooperation from local law enforcement to actually attempt a confiscation effort is pretty remote. But what would it take for the state of Illinois just to send nasty little letters to every one of those individuals who purchased a firearm during those restricted periods of time and say, you got 30 days to surrender that, otherwise we're revoking your FOID card. Translation, you will be required to forfeit every single one of your firearms. That, my friends, is the big danger with pre-purchasing licensing, and if you don't believe me that this can happen, you don't have to look any further than the state of Illinois. Listen, if you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, that information's down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. From Gat Guns here in East Dundee, Illinois, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Why in the year 2024 should anybody even think about having self-defense protection? Because, 25 years ago, we would have never had this conversation. So what's different today?
Bill, we really saw a need a number of years ago when the volatility and divisiveness of our country started to change drastically. And we, by the way, are gun people protecting gun people. We
Right.
come from a significant gun background.
Right to bear, that's right. Legal protection for self-protection. Listen, good lawyers aren't cheap. Cheap lawyers aren't good. You're not truly prepared unless you have right to bear back you. You will always get an attorney-answered hotline, so you will always have a confidential phone call. There are no cap limits for either civil or criminal defense. This covers all forms of self-defense. So from a fist to a firearm, from a fat lip to a dead body, you are covered, and you will have some of the nation's most passionate 2A attorneys in your corner fighting for you. And right now, if you visit my friends at protectwithbear.com and you use the promo code WGL, you will receive 10% off. Listen, you need to protect yourself so that you can protect them. Visit my good friends at protectwithbear.com.